Here's Doug's story. My name is Doug, and for 6 years I had phimosis. Here's my story on how I successfully treated my phimosis. Phimosis gave me a tight foreskin. It started when I finished my master's degree around year 1996. At first it was a nuisance. It occurred occasionally and meant that I couldn't retract my foreskin all the time. One evening when my girlfriend at the time were having sex, my foreskin tore and I screamed out so loud she started crying. It caused my flatmates to race into my room to check everything was okay. Things were never the same and the relationship broke down after a few more weeks. I focused myself on my job and got a promotion within 6 months and was happy except for the fact that my foreskin was not working properly and I would get small tears whenever I became aroused. In the late 90s, I travelled to Japan for work and was stationed there for 3 months. In that time, I met a beautiful Japanese girl and we became friends, and the relationship transcended into much more within a few weeks. However, after a couple of positive romantic encounters, I tore my foreskin again badly and couldn't face the pain and shame of telling this wonderful girl my problem. I left Japan to return home to Australia and I stayed in contact with my new friend. I decided that I should see a doctor about my phimosis. My doctor told me that I could try some steroid cream and manual stretching, and if that didn't work, then the only option was surgery, circumcision. I tried the steroid for a month and got a little success. My girlfriend came to visit me in Australia and things went well until my foreskin got caught round the shaft and wouldn't move. It was terribly embarrassing as my girlfriend had to call an ambulance and went with me to the emergency room. They undertook many embarrassing things and I had the indignity of multiple people prodding and squeezing and pulling and pushing my manhood, which was shriveled up into a blue flap of skin. I was so traumatized by this process that I didn't feel I could continue the relationship, and I ended it at the airport, and I felt so low and depressed about the whole thing. It took another 5 years of self-loathing and bouts of depression before I was to discover something that changed my life. My doctor had told me of a company that was making a little balloon foreskin stretcher for phimosis. He didn't know much more about it and he showed me the website. Later that day I looked it up and throwing caution to the wind, I ordered the kit. After a few days I wondered if I had done the right thing, but realised that I didn't really have a choice. I arrived home from work on Friday evening to find a small white padded envelope in my postbox. It had no markings on it and just my name, address and a return address. My heart started to pound a little faster as I realised this was probably my anticipated parcel. I went inside, put my work stuff on the table in the hall, emptied out my pockets and sat down to open this curious little parcel. I opened the parcel and found a small kit with a balloon, a device, a plunger and a few other items. I read the instructions and thought this will be interesting. I had a shower and then put on some casual clothes. After that, I began to play with this funny-looking device. Within 2 minutes, I had inserted the balloon inside my foreskin and had pumped air into the balloon and locked the air in. My foreskin had clearly stretched a little. I left the balloon in one position for 10 minutes and then moved it slightly and kept it there for another 10 minutes or so. The next morning, I woke up and started the procedure again, and then the same in the afternoon, and repeated the procedure each morning and night. After 5 days, something had changed. My foreskin started to move back and forth without pain or discomfort. It was still a little tight, but much less so. I was getting happier and happier with each passing day. After 10 days, I had a foreskin that was working so well, it was like I had forgotten about my years of despair. My whole attitude had changed and I was already flirting with girls again, and lo and behold, on the Saturday evening, just 2 weeks after I started using the foreskin stretching balloon, I hooked up with a girl at a party and we enjoyed an amazing few days together. You will be pleased to know that I ended up marrying that wonderful girl and we now have 3 kids and life is really good and I have not had any more problems. As a means of ensuring my foreskin health, I put a small amount of special cream, the same company supplies this, and I used their lubricant and soap. It is designed for men like me with sensitive foreskin. This simple regimen of adding cream takes 20 seconds each morning. The lube used as needed, and I use the soap 2 to 3 times a week to keep things clean and fresh. It is nearly 8 years since I had phimosis, and I have never looked back. I wrote this story and sent it to the company that changed my life, and told them they can use this as a case study for any man who has phimosis and doesn't know what to do. The company is Platigo Solutions and the brand is Novaglan. Novaglan products treated my phimosis, helps to keep my foreskin healthy, and overall has changed my life for the better. I give the company and the products a 5 out of 5, and I'm happy to tell my story about Novaglan phimosis treatment so that other guys can feel confident that it is worth the small investment. Written by Doug in Sydney, Australia.